Can you imagine the Montreal Canadiens giving up their most promising young defenseman for a forward who might not even solve their center problem? Well, hold on to your seats because we're diving into the trade rumors that had Habs fans on the edge of complete meltdown this summer. The hockey world loves its rumors, but when insider Marco Normandin dropped his bombshell on the Poolcast this week, it sent shockwaves to the Montreal faithful. We're talking about Jordan Kyrou, that silky smooth St. Louis Blues forward who's been lighting up scoreboards and turning heads across the league. Here's where it gets absolutely wild. According to Normandin's sources, the Canadiens weren't just casually window shopping for Kyrou. They were deep in negotiations, and the price tag? None other than Kaiden Guhle, the 22-year-old defensive stalwart who's been quietly becoming the backbone of Montreal's blue line. Let's break this down because the implications are staggering. Guhle isn't just another prospect floating around the system. This is a player who's already proven he can handle top 4 minutes in the NHL. Martin St. Louis and Stefan Rabidas have been leaning on him heavily, and for good reason. The kid's got that rare combination of defensive reliability and offensive upside that makes general managers lose sleep at night in the best possible way. But here's the kicker: Kyrou, while undoubtedly talented, comes with his own set of question marks. Sure, he's got the speed that makes offenders look like they're skating in quicksand, and his hands are softer than a mother's lullaby. But is he really the number 2 center solution that Montreal desperately needs? That's the million-dollar question that apparently made Kent Hughes pump the brakes on this potential blockbuster. The original deal that actually went through was much smaller. Logan Mailloux for Zachary Bolduc. Nothing earth-shattering there, just 2 prospects changing scenery. But the fact that this could have been part of a much larger package involving Kyrou tells us everything we need to know about how active Hughes was on the trade market this summer. Think about the psychology here for a moment. The Canadiens are in a peculiar position where they need to balance immediate improvement with long-term sustainability. Trading Guhle for Kyrou would have been the classic win-now move that often comes back to haunt rebuilding teams. You're essentially gambling that Kyrou's offensive ceiling is worth more than Guhle's defensive floor and potential growth. The injury concerns surrounding Guhle add another layer of complexity to this whole saga. Yes, the young defenseman has had his share of bumps and bruises. Welcome to the NHL, kid. But suggesting that injury history should factor into trading away a cornerstone defensive piece? That's the kind of short-sighted thinking that turns promising rebuilds into decades of mediocrity. Let's talk about market value for a second. If the Canadiens were seriously considering moving Guhle, they better be getting back a guaranteed impact player. We're talking Mason McTavish territory, a player who's not just potential but already showing he can handle the pressure of being a go-to guy. Kyrou, talented as he is, doesn't quite check that box yet. The beauty of this non-trade is that it shows Hughes and his management team aren't falling into the trap of making moves just to make moves. They're being methodical, patient, and most importantly, they're not panicking about their center depth issues by overpaying in the trade market. Here's what really gets me fired up about this whole situation. The Canadiens have been burned before by trading away young defensive talent for forwards who looked great on paper but couldn't deliver when it mattered. The organization learned some hard lessons, and it seems like those lessons are finally sticking. The other fascinating element is how this connects to the broader David Savard situation. With the veteran defenseman's future still up in the air, the Canadiens needed to be extra careful about their defensive depth. Trading Guhle in that context would have been borderline reckless, regardless of what they were getting back. What this tells us about the current state of the Canadiens is actually quite encouraging. They're not desperate. They're not making panic moves. They're building something sustainable, and that requires keeping players like Guhle who can be part of the core for years to come. The fact that St. Louis has been able to develop Guhle into such a reliable presence so quickly speaks volumes about both the player's work ethic and the coaching staff's development capabilities. Why would you trade away that success story for an unknown quantity? Looking ahead, this non-trade might be remembered as a sliding doors moment for franchise. Sometimes the deals you don't make are just as important as the ones you do. The Canadiens kept their future defensive anchor and avoided the risk of Kyrou not panning out as their solution at center. So there you have it, folks. The trade that almost was and probably shouldn't have been. The Montreal Canadiens dodge a bullet by keeping Kaiden Guhle, and Jordan Kyrou remains a Blue while the Habs continue their patient rebuild. What do you think? Was Hughes right to keep Guhle, or should the Canadiens have rolled the dice on Kyrou's offensive upside? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear from you. And if this kind of inside scoop gets your hockey blood pumping, smash that like button, and let's keep diving deep into the stories that really matter in the NHL.